Hey guys, SirVern back here, and today I'm going to be discussing a topic that a buddy of mine were discussing this week, and that is PC versus console, and why I'm thinking about switching to PC in the future. Maybe not as my primary gaming rig, but at least play more games on PC. And I'm going to go over the pros, cons for both PC and console, and just kind of discuss why I am more of a console player than a PC gamer. But we'll start with consoles. Just a plus. We'll just go over some pluses. So one big thing about console gaming, one big reason I like it is because the comfort sitting on the couch. It may seem dumb to some people, but it's important to me. Like I have a setup right here. Um, you know, I have my little dumb little pillow that I like, my little ottoman, a bean bag if I want to sit back there. But I have that area to play, and it's comfortable. If you're on a PC, I do have this PC right here. It's not very powerful at all, but sitting there as compared to a couch, bean bag, or that little IKEA chair, it's just not the same, right? You're going to be hunched over. It's just way more comfortable to sit down with a pillow in your lap, or just lounge in a lazy boy like what my brother does, and with a controller. It's just way more comfortable. Sure, there's always the people that are going to say, well, you can, play PC on your TV, hook it up via HDMI and even hook a controller up to it. But come on, nobody does that. Uh, there is surely 95 to 99% of the people just play PC on a monitor at their desk, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely more of a controller guy, and that's another benefit to me is, all console games are designed around a controller, and I just prefer a controller. The PS5 controller is the best controller I've ever used. There are some close contenders. I used to love the Xbox 360 controller, with the offset joysticks, but now once I switched during the PS3 era, I'm much more symmetrical joystick guy. But that's besides the point. Really, controller use is important to me. And I've tried to play games with a mouse and keyboard, and I'm just terrible at it, probably just because I didn't grow up with it. Uh, but that's what a lot of kids are going to now is keyboard and mouse. They see their heroes, their streamer, whatever, Choco Taco, Shroud, Ninja, all these people. All the big streamers play on PC, and there's reasons for that, which I'll go over. But I grew up with console. I prefer console. Um, and I'll keep going over some reasons why. But just being comfortable on the couch, and then the focus of controller. So, like on Steam, it'll show. Sorry, something in my eye. But on Steam, it'll show if controllers are available for use, or if the game was designed around controllers. So, of course, you can play with a controller on some games. Um, so it's not a huge issue, and you can play mouse and keyboard on console sometimes. But overwhelming majority of games are going to be controller on console, mouse and keyboard on PC. So I think that's a positive, depending on how you look at it. For me, though, it's going to be a positive in console's favor for controller. Another huge and possibly one of the biggest reasons that me and my buddy discussed is trophies. So yes, they have Steam achievements, they have Xbox achievements. I don't know if GOG or Epic. I'm sure they have their own system like that. But once I'm invested in the PlayStation ecosystem. I'm invested in trophies. I have been since the PS3. I would say the PS4 is when or maybe the Vita is when I started to really like trophy hunt. And now it's a part of every game I play. It's important to look at the trophy list for me to see additional goals I can go over. I made a whole video over trophies and pros and cons because they also have cons. But overall, I think it's overall a good thing. It's added goals. If you don't care about trophies, you don't have to even, have another buddy that doesn't care about trophies. My brother doesn't care about trophies. He's just kind of a bro gamer. He just plays, shooting games and sports games. But if you do care about them like I do, it just adds to a game. But anyway, I think that's a benefit. And like I said, Steam does have an achievement system. But one thing about PC that's kind of frustrating is it seems more like spread out. Like your games are going to be, some are GOG, some are Steam, some are Epic, some are Microsoft. I don't know if they have their own storefront. I think they used to. Some are on disc. I even have some PC games still on discs. So that's frustrating. I like the when you're either Xbox, Switch, or PlayStation, you have an ecosystem, and you're all in. All your games are there, right? So that's really nice, and that's a pro to me for consoles. And I guess the whole reason I'm doing this is I'm kind of talking to myself and just making a pros and cons list for PC, because I am considering buying one. Well, upgrading one, because that is barely a gaming PC that I have over there. It cost less than $250 7 years ago, so it can barely. It's got like 2 gigs of VRAM. I'll have to, if I can find the specs, I'll put them on the screen, but they are not good. Um, so trophies are important. Um, Another huge. This one is probably actually my number one: physical media. So you can probably see behind me, every single game on PS3, 4, and 5 that exists physically, minus, I mean, there's maybe two or three that I can't afford, I have physical. So I am predominantly a physical collector for a number of reasons, but it's getting less and less mandatory to even buy a disc anymore, because some games are like online only. The disc just becomes a coaster after a while. There's already plenty of examples. I own Mag for the PS3 that is just a server game. There's games like The Crew that no longer work, that Ubisoft created, that are just online only. I just got done playing Diablo 4 on PS5. That, I believe, that's online only. So it's becoming that's this is the whole reason I'm having the conversation, like, with myself and you guys, um, if you want to join in. But I think it's important to own what you buy, and physical media at least allows you to do that in some capacity. Yes, it's becoming less and less relevant to own physical media, and that's why I'm like thinking. So say PS6 comes out with no disk drive and no way to play PS4 and PS5 games, that is when I'm going to seriously have to come rewatch this video and look at my pros and cons, because PC gaming then becomes way more enticing, because I lose out on physical media, and that's important to me. I would still collect for the PS3, 4, 5, and I have 16 consoles hooked up here. So I would, still collect for those systems, but my primary rig might switch to PC. And I'll get to more reasons, and you'll see why that may be. But right now, PlayStation 5 is my primary gaming console. I do have a lot of other consoles, but I primarily play there. Um, I did mention this one, all in one ecosystem, and I have already, like I said, I've had PS3, 4, and 5, and I've spent a lot of money in these ecosystems. I do have some digital games. I have like the PSVR 2, and most of those games don't come physically. So I've dipped my toe into the digital realm, against my will. But eventually, digital media is just gonna, or physical media is just gonna go away, and I know that, and everybody knows that, and it's coming quicker and quicker. A lot of people, like, I made a video talking about this, in some video about physical media, and they just say, "Old man wants it," whatever. I don't care if you. It doesn't bother your opinion. It doesn't matter to me. When it comes to that, you're not going to change my opinion. I like to own what I purchase. You know, I've gotten burnt too many times, and you will too if you keep buying digital only. We all will. But let's move on. So, I all in one ecosystem. I've already spent a lot of money, so all my games are on. I can turn on my PS5. I can go through my trophy list. I can go look at my shelf. All my games are on one platform, and I like that. My friends are there. That's another reason I prefer consoles, just because my friends I graduated high school with, my brother, most people I care about are on console, and more specifically PS5. So that's important to anybody. If all your friends are on Xbox or Switch or PC, that's where you probably want to go. But mine are on console and PS5, so that's important to me. Another big thing is we'll talk about two things and they kind of run together. Ease of use, meaning you buy a PS5 game, you put the PS5 game into the PS5 system, and it works 99% of the time. Yes, there's going to be exceptions to everything I say here. Probably there's going to be a game that's scratched or whatever, update, server is no longer online, whatever. 99% of the time, you put the game in, it works. There's no updating, there's no graphic card incompatibility, there's no, your motherboard doesn't work with this, RAM's too fast, old operating system. You go on PC, you run into issues like this. You know, I've already ran into an issue. I bought the Command and Conquer the last decade, like all the Command and Conquer games, and in the comments, there's all these things saying this doesn't work. There's all these bugs because they're made with old operating systems, with slower hardware. You got to run like that's a positive for PCs too because it can run old games. Backwards compatibility is a huge thing, and PlayStation 5 doesn't do it that well. I mean, it can play PS4 games, but PS3, nope. You can stream them, but that's not ideal. You can, they're starting to put PS2 games and emulate those on there, which is cool, and PS1 games, adding trophies. That's really neat. But, you know, it's not perfect with backwards compatibility. And PC has a leg up because you can literally play, I mean, any PC game. There's somebody that knows how to get it working. And that's really cool. If a game goes offline, the PC community will step up and make the game playable with their own servers. And that's a huge step up for PC. My favorite game of all time is on the Xbox 360, Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth 2. Love it. It's an RTS game. The servers on that shut down a decade ago. Not on PC. I downloaded the game, got it working on PC, and you can play online still. So that is super important to me. And I think the longer we're in this digital era, the more important that's going to become. And that's a huge leg up for PC. Um, but ease of use, you're also going to run into issues on PC that you wouldn't otherwise on PS5, and that's just, you know, it may take some tinkering. There is no tinkering with the PS5. I'm a huge nerd, so you would think that that wouldn't bother me, but when I sit down, I have limited time right now. I'm a new dad. I'm about to start a new job. When I sit down to play a game, I want it to work. So that's a bonus for me. Less tinkering. Let's go over a negative for consoles. So I do have way less negatives for consoles, obviously, because that's my place to play games of choice. But one is it's less powerful. So the PS5 is a very capable machine. We haven't really seen everything it can do yet. When it like a game like Astro's Playroom comes out, it's awesome, right? And you can see what the PS5 is capable of, all its features, haptic feedback, your adaptive triggers, speakers in your controller. That's just all neat and unique to PlayStation, which is nice. But it's less powerful than you're going to get on a $3,000 PC gaming rig. Obviously, it costs $3,000. You know, you get what you pay for in life. But there's something to be said about spending $500 and play something in 4K. That same $500 will not do the same on a PC. You're going to have to spend probably double that or close to it to play the game in the same 4K 30 that the PS5 can hit. Um, so you know if you've got all the money in the world to burn, you can make your PC just look stunning, and I think that's cool. So that's a negative for consoles. But I do think that another aspect positive for consoles is that so I prefer fair gaming. Okay. I like when someone has the same hardware. So like on a PC, somebody that spent that $3,000 and somebody like me who has a $250 rig are not going to get the same experience. You're not going to get the same frames per second. You're not going to get the same resolution. It's just going to look worse and perform worse than somebody with a more expensive rig. Is that fair? No. So I like when everybody has the $500 console that runs at the same, you know, resolutions and see and then it starts to get more blurry. That's why I'm saying the longer this goes on, the more PC becomes more and more just um, it just becomes more appealing because consoles are getting more and more like PCs and they don't do as much as a PC. So, like I can play some games at 120 frames a second where my buddy Ken's can't. He doesn't have an HDMI 2.1 display, so he can play 4K 60, but I have the option to play 1080p 120 in some games, which is cool, but not fair necessarily. I almost preferred like the PS3 era where everybody had the same setup, unless you were on like a tube TV. But I think overall, in general, you have a fairer experience. 90% of the people have the same controller, 90% of the people have the same display. And with PCs, it's just not that way. Somebody can have like triple displays, and somebody can have a 4K monitor that can, output 120 hertz, um, with a $3,000 gaming rig, where somebody could have what I have. I have a TV that does 60 frames, 60 hertz with a $250 PC. My PC might be able to run a game at 1080p 30, maybe 60 if I'm pushing it. So, um, anyway, I just prefer the fairness and on consoles. Yes, there's like pro controllers and all this blurs the lines, and that's what I'm talking about. So, anyway, um, that is a positive for consoles. Let's see. Let's throw in some PC positives. Let's be sweet to PC. So I said they're more powerful, more complete. This I've run into numerous times now. I love strategy games, my favorite genre. PCs have way more strategy games. That's another positive, but way more of what I'm looking for. It's way easier to control with mouse and keyboard. I did grow up with a PC. My stepdad had a DOS PC, and I played Warcraft 1 and 2 on there. I played Doom, but I just never got into like the first person shooter when those came around and got popular with Halo. I was Xbox, and all Xbox 360, and then that's a whole nother video. But I did play PC games, and I do like PC gaming. It's just not my primary, and I'm just kind of talking out loud to myself and to you guys about it. Um, but they're more complete. That's where I was talking about, or what I was talking about. So, what I mean by that is, so like Slaycation Paradise, it's a strategy game. Go check out the review on my channel. But Slaycation Paradise came out, and don't quote me, but I think this was a while ago that I played it. But it was a fun game. But what it really needed is an endless mode, a mode that gave replayability, a higher score for me, that made a strategy game that you can play over and over and over. It gives it so much replayability, and that's important for a strategy game. I beat it, platinumed the game, Googled it. The PC version has it. PC versions are just going to have more support usually. They're more complete games. They're bigger, and they just add more modes. And I've run into that with 2 or 3 games now, and it's just frustrating. So that would be a positive for PC, especially if you ran into a game that you're like obsessed with and you want to get the most out of it. More complete version. Another thing that I'm not huge into and I haven't really explored much is mods. So PS5 does have some mods. Like I have a nephew who plays Farming Simulator. There are mods there, but he tells me that the computer has way more mods. I'm not super into mods. I like to play what the developers intended for you to play. Like I think like Skyrim has mods and Fallout has mods. I want to play what the developers intended. That's more my style. But I would say if you have a PC and you play the game to death, 100% of the game, and you want to just kind of push it and just change it, whatever, that might be a positive for PC. And plenty of people think it is. So I did add that. Um, so another negative about PC, sorry, PC, is that ports a lot of times are garbage. It seems like most games are made with the console market in mind, and then PC are just like an afterthought. They do port the games over, but they're poorly done sometimes, and it just comes out and it's a big disaster. Like the Helldivers 2 situation, you're dealing with like consoles and PC merging, and it just, PC players don't want anything to do with console players. I'm kind of like in the middle. I'm much more console, but I wouldn't mind switching to PC if something changed. But what I'm going to have to really get used to, and what's going to really bother me, is no physical games, period. It's that's done and gone with. And then no trophies anymore. That's a real bummer. Guess you just get used to that. I mean, I do play games on different systems from time to time. I'll throw in an Evercade game. I have the Evercade Versus, so you can play on there or the handheld. But it's really nice to get trophies, and I'm kind of hooked on those now. I'm sure there's plenty of in PC there's more peripherals. That's a positive for PC. You've got all these different mics and cameras. And another advantage is you can use your PC for anything else. It's not just a gaming machine. It's a spreadsheet creator. It's a word process. It's anything you want it to be almost. It's just way more you know it's way more stuff you can do with it. It's like 1 in the morning. I'm tired, but yeah, you can use the PC for much more than gaming. So that's a positive for PC. Another huge thing about PC is upgradability. Your consoles. I have the PS5 and I put a 1 terabyte hard drive into it, and that's all you can do. That's it until they release new hardware. So you're repurchasing hardware. Well, you can future proof yourself with a PC, putting a motherboard that do some research to where you can it can accept the next few generations of what's coming. You can If you spent $3,000 on a PC, that PC is going to last longer than a $500 console. I guarantee it. Um, so that money may last longer, and you can upgrade it. Say you want to upgrade your processor or your video card, graphics card one day, then yeah, you can do that. You can't do that with a console, so that's something to be said. um, there are no really generations on a PC. There's no console generations. There's um, like Windows 11 and new Windows versions that come out, but that's it. That's every, I don't know, 8-10 years. So yeah, I'm sure I missed some stuff, but that's just like the things that are important to me. Um, and I guess I just stink at PC gaming. Like I initially built this PC for PUBG. I played that game and loved it, and I built this PC with PUBG in mind, and just playing with a mouse and keyboard. I watch people online that are just amazing with them, and I'm just so bad. Um, but I guess it's like just practice makes perfect. Not to say that I'm just stellar with controllers. I'm just better. But anyway, if you can think of anything that I missed, feel free to leave it in the comments. Last thing, this is dumb too, but I like to watch YouTube. Um, During some games that don't require, like a lot of story and you have to pay attention to. But on PC, you can just have dual windows. You could have another monitor with it playing. So, like I said, you can just do more with a PC. You could stream easier with a PC. I mean, well, not easier because PS5 you literally push a button, but it is nice to have like OBS and just you can tailor it to your setup. I can stream all my systems I could use and stream easier with the well, not easier, but just with the PC. So PC has a lot of benefits, and I I think that one day I'm gonna switch completely. A lot of people have already made that leap, um, and it'll be sad. But really, what's gonna do it for me is the lack of physical media, or if they made a terrible move and PS6 came out and it had no backwards compatibility with 5 or 4. Surely they wouldn't do that. But I truly think that PS6 will come out and be digital only with an external drive for your old games. That would be ideal in the best case scenario. But when that happens, I might just keep my PS5, collect for it, because look what's happening now. They're still making PS4 games. Come on, it's 4 years into the PS5 generation. What's the point in upgrading now? So, like, I might just keep the PS5 for 4 years past its life cycle, still buying PS5 games, and then just buy the brand new games on an expensive PC. There's no physical games anyway. That's probably my biggest reason to stick with console, but trophies are important too. So I guess I'll make that decision when the time comes. But I did price one out. The PC I want costs a little over $1,600, and I think that PC would future proof me for 5 to 8 years. Maybe 10 if I'm just like, you know, content with the way it looks. But that's all I've got. I'm just rambling now. But if you got anything to add that I missed, leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. SirVern out.